Israel Adesanya.
28-0!
McGregor announcing
About a guy who
Francis Ngannou.
Hey, what's up my homies? Leighton here for UFC Gambling Addicts, back again for another UFC full card breakdown and predictions video. I'm a little bit late on this one, but we're here. Darrick Brunson taking on Kevin Holland. Really decent main event. As always my homies, make sure you smash that like button, hams that style, whatever you want to do to it. Alright, let's jump into these matchups. JP Buys taking on Bruno Silva. Alright, let's start with JP. So this is a guy who wants to take you to the mat, wrestle you, basically look to submit you. If he can't do that, ground and pound. You know, he's all about playing that ground game. Bruno Silva, we've seen this guy compete inside the UFC a few times now. 0 wins, 3 losses. His skill level, not too high level. He throws big bombs, likes to try and use his power, but doesn't really translate too much inside the octagon. Seems to always get outclassed by his opponent. So I am going to side with the wrestler, JP Buys. I think he basically outclasses Bruno. The only way I think Bruno is going to win this matchup would be to starch JP Buys. I'd be very surprised if he submitted him on the mat, because if it does hit the mat, I see JP basically controlling that position. So I'll side with JP, maybe by submission or ground and pound. My numbers, I'd put JP minus 150, Bruno Silva plus 120. And the actual numbers, what have we got to start this card? Bruno Silva plus 130, plus 125, JP Buys minus 140, minus 150. Yeah, spot on. I mean, I give that slight advantage to JP if he uses his grappling. If it stays on the feet, Bruno Silva does have a chance. Julija Avila taking on Julija Stoliarenko. I like this matchup. We're going to start with Julija. So how would we describe Julija, man? She's got good grappling. Her striking very composed on the feet. Just an all-round fighter. She did have that loss to Sarge Eubanks where she got stuck on her back, but Sarge Eubanks, man, that's a really good wrestler. This will be a step down in competition, but Julija Avila, man, you know, before that loss, showing us really good things. She's a well-rounded fighter. Stoliarenko debuted against Yana Kuniskaya. The debut, man, didn't go too well. Basically out-grappled, out-wrestled. Just big sister, you know, big sister treatment. That's what she got in her debut. If I'm looking at paths to victory for Stoliarenko, if you look at her resume, she's submitting all of her opponents. If she grapples here, maybe she can show us, man. Maybe she can show us, but I don't think so. I think Avila still probably the better grappler. So if I'm Stoliarenko, I'm striking, purely striking. I have a feeling that Avila is going to look to grapple, and I do see this one ending via submission or maybe even ground and pound. Maybe a similar fight to the first fight, you know, if I'm right. So I'll take Avila via submission in round number 2. Maybe I'm being harsh on Stoliarenko, but I'd put Avila at least minus 220. Stoliarenko plus 190, plus 180. Avila, man, getting a lot of respect. Minus 400. Julija coming back plus 300. So yeah, if Stoliarenko does win, it's hard to see that being a decision. I see it being a stoppage. So maybe again, play a prop if you do think Stoliarenko's going to win. For me though, I haven't picked against Julija yet, and I'm going to stay there. Montel Jackson taking on Jesse Strader, and we're going to start with Montel. So Montel is primarily a wrestler, although doesn't really get in there and hold down his opponents. He does get takedowns here and there, but the opponent seems to get back to his feet. Despite that, you know, it's still good to have that wrestling background. Montel usually has the size and reach on his opponents, so fighting at distance, also very good at doing that too. Jesse Strader, what do we know about this guy? If you look at the tape, this guy's a bit of a warrior, a bit of a dog, loves to rip to the body. You know, he'll go to the body all day. If we're looking at the logical pick, it's Montel Jackson all day. You know, wrestling, despite not holding down his opponents, despite not being good enough to compete with Brett Johns in the grappling, the wrestling could be the story here. If he takes down Jesse Strader, it could be all over. But if it stays on the feet, you know, Montel Jackson likes to use distance. He likes to fight at distance. You can't really do that in the small octagon. So maybe Jesse Strader does have a chance if he gets in close, rips to the body, doesn't get stuck on his back. Guys, the logical pick, it is Montel Jackson. But this smaller octagon, man, let's be honest, it is very toxic. It's very, very toxic. So I'm going to take a shot, man. I think Jesse Strader, if he can rip to the body, just be a dog in there, not get taken down, which is way easier said than done. I do think he has a chance. So I'm going to take Jesse Strader via TKO in round number 2. If this was the bigger octagon, I would take Montel Jackson all day to fight at distance. But there is no distance in this smaller octagon. There is no distance. I would still give Montel the odds, -200, -250. And the actual odds, insane. Really insane. Montel Jackson at -800, -750, which basically implies 80% chance of winning. Inside the big octagon, yes. Inside the small octagon, where every fight is just very toxic, more toxic than usual, nah, I think I have to take a shot here on Jesse Strader. Trevin Giles taking on Roman Dolidze. Good matchup, really decent matchup. We're going to start with Trevin. So Trevin comes into this matchup 4 wins, 2 losses inside the UFC. Seems to be mainly a power puncher, but this guy can take you down. He does like to grapple, mix it up. The weakness in his game, in my opinion, would be cardio. If you look at him late second round, last round, he is quite fatigued most of the time. The opponent, Roman Dolidze, this guy is pretty fresh inside the UFC. Quite similar to Trevin Giles. You know, this guy, powerful puncher on the feet, likes to mix it up with his wrestling too, likes to take it to the mat. So this one, really difficult to predict. You know, do you go Trevin Giles, experience? Or do you go Roman Dolidze, maybe finishes the fight? You know, he is quite a powerful guy. As the fight goes on, if both guys get tired, maybe I lean a little bit towards Trevin. But having said that, you know, whoever ends up on top with the takedown, that could be the winner, especially when both guys are tired. I'm going to take Roman Dolidze here. I think maybe he's the one that ends up on top and maybe more likely to finish this fight too. So I'll go Roman Dolidze via TKO in round number 2. Taking some second round finishes. My numbers would be Roman -140, Trevin Giles +110. And the odds are closer. We've got Roman Dolidze -120, Trevin Giles +105, +100. Yeah, understandable. Both guys mirror each other, you know, it's difficult to be confident. Grant Dawson taking on Leonardo Santos, another decent prelim fight. Let's start with Grant Dawson. So Grant is undefeated inside the UFC. This guy is primarily a wrestler. Each fight he's had, he's improving fight by fight. The wrestling is looking stronger and stronger each time. As for his striking, we can't really judge him there too much because the fight is always on the mat. He's always taking down his opponent. Leonardo Santos, really good jiu-jitsu. But this guy does have the ability to hurt you on the feet. You only have to look at the way he put out Stevie Ray. You know, this guy is a nasty striker at times. And it's always unannounced. You know, it's never, you can see he's going to hurt you. It comes out of nowhere. Despite Leonardo Santos being over 40 years old, he's still a nasty guy. You know, on the feet, he's probably going to win this fight. Does Grant Dawson take him to the mat despite the jiu-jitsu? Probably. And if he does, I think he probably avoids that jiu-jitsu too. So I'm going to take Grant Dawson to use his wrestling, use that top control, and maybe find a late finish himself. So I'll take Grant Dawson via TKO in round number 3. My odds, I'd put Grant Dawson minus 180, Leonardo plus 150. And the actual odds, we've got Grant Dawson minus 200, minus 190, Leonardo plus 160. Yeah, completely agree. I think Grant Dawson more than likely should be a favourite. He probably does use his wrestling. Leonardo Santos would have to do something magical. You know, he's done that a couple times. I wouldn't be shocked, but yeah, I'm taking Grant. Marion Riddell taking on Macy Chiasson. Let's start with Marion. So Marion, just like Leonardo Santos, she's quite an old fighter. Been around for some time. Good experience inside the UFC. She's a ground specialist, right? She wants to take you to the mat. She wants to use her jiu-jitsu. If she's kept on the outside in a striking battle, she's going to use her kicks. Or she's going to look to close the distance, push you up against the fence, look to grapple. Macy Chiasson, very green. You know, this girl, if we look at her performance against Pani Kianzad, really strong. You know, you're thinking this girl is going to grapple everyone. But then you look at what Lena Landsberg did to her. You know, big sister. Same as Yana Kuniskaya against Stoliarenko. Big sister treatment. So could Marion Riddell get in there? Maybe do the same type of thing? Maybe out-grapple Macy? I wouldn't say it's impossible. But what I would say is Macy Chiasson probably improved since that loss. I haven't picked against Macy yet. She does have potential. You can see her potential. And I think maybe she does show us improvements with her grappling. So I'm going to take Macy Chiasson via decision. My numbers, I'd put Macy minus 190. I'd put Marion plus 160. And we've got Macy coming in minus 210, minus 215. So a lot of money, a lot of respect going on Macy Chiasson. Marion Riddell does have the experience, but she still has to get in there, take down Macy, give her that treatment. You know, it's going to be tough. Cheyenne Bays taking on Montserrat Ruiz, and we're going to start with Cheyenne. So Cheyenne is the wife of JP Bays. This girl seems to be primarily a striker. She'll kind of blitz you, you know, step in real quick, hit you with 4 punches. Very aggressive, you know, this girl really aggressive, which has its pros and cons. You know, if you get over aggressive against a really technical striker, you can get slept. But Montserrat Ruiz doesn't seem to be that technical striker. She seems to be more of a grappler. So really, I think this one comes down to takedown defense. If you think Cheyenne Bays has that takedown defense, that's probably the pick to make. I'm going to say training at Fortis MMA maybe pays off here. Takedown defense is going to be key for Cheyenne Bays to continue to strike. So I'm going to take Cheyenne Bays via decision. My numbers, I'd put Cheyenne at least minus 200. Because this is going to come down to takedown defense, right? So you're basically finding the price based on how does Cheyenne keep this fight in her world, which is striking. I would say she keeps it in her world at least 65% of the time, maybe 70%. 70% is minus 230. So yeah, minus 200 up to minus 230 would be a good price for Cheyenne. And we've got her at minus 350, minus 360, which is pretty crazy. You know, if she can keep it striking, maybe that price is real. It is correct. But if Ruiz can take her down, that's a crazy price. Alright, my homies, you know what time it is. Alright, if you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, triple amen. Alright homies, I hope you're all doing blessed, having a great day. Shout out to the bro who messaged me on Instagram. This is going to be the topic for this smoke break. Okay, so Chris, shout out to you, Chris. If you need a smoke break topic, it's patience. This generation deals with all kinds of new anxieties and the constant pressure of social media to force people into thinking that success or wealth comes overnight. But true happiness and true success comes when you accept your goals and challenges and appreciate the journey one day at a time. Those goals in the future are bigger than whatever short-term dopamine rush our brains might be searching for. Everyone is dealt a different hand of cards in life. Everyone can go at a different speed, and everyone's ideas of success can be different. True, success is subjective. It's what it is to you. But that long-term, lifelong happiness comes with being patient for success and trusting in your own dreams. If we let ourselves get consumed by what social media tells us, success or the luxuries other people are blessed with, we will never be able to find happiness and success in our life. So shout out to you, Chris. That's a beautiful message. Really, really good message. But one thing that I would add to this message too, Chris, because you go on to speak about happiness and what true happiness is, I would go on to add something to that. Not only is happiness about accepting, our goals and going at our own pace, not getting consumed by social media, because, that's another point that you make that I agree with. Social media does add pressure. And this is what I think also needs to be added to that message. Now, when I first heard Jim Carrey speak, I used to think he was insane. Re-listen to what he says, and it just makes so much sense. Some people may think Jim Carrey is insane, but I feel like I was the guy who was insane, who didn't get Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey speaks about we try to be someone for the world, right? We try to become someone for the world, right? And this is what you mentioned about social media. Everyone wants to become someone for the world. And when you go online, you can become depressed, right? It's pressure. But we're all trying to be someone. But if we just accept that we are complete, today, I'm complete today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be complete. The rest of this week, I'm going to be complete. The rest of this month, I'm complete right now. If we just accept that, I think that's happiness. That's real happiness. I'm not saying that don't work on your dreams. I'm not saying don't have goals. I'll be the first to tell you, have goals. But what I'm saying is, if you accept that you're the same person today as you're going to be when you achieve those goals, that's accepting that you're already complete, right? Yes, I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve, but when I do, I'm still the same person. So I am complete now, even though I haven't achieved it yet. I'm still complete. Don't be so pressured to be someone, right? Everyone wants to be someone. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with, I believe his name is Charles Bukowski. But on his gravestone, he has "Don't try." Right? He has "Don't try" written on his gravestone. Now I'm not saying to you don't have goals and don't try. But this is a message that they're speaking to you in a different way. Accept that you're complete today. That's also true happiness. Jim Carrey again speaks about, if I go deep enough into an actor role and I lose Jim Carrey, if it's so easy to lose Jim Carrey, then who is Jim Carrey? Oh yeah, that's right. My character's that thin to begin with, Don't get so caught up in playing, I'm going to be this character. I'm going to be this character. You're complete today. You've got the goals that you're working towards, but on the journey day by day, going at your pace, you're still complete. It sounds like a trippy message. It sounds trippy, but yeah, that's the message that I want to add on to Chris's message. I think, Chris, you point out a great message. And that's the only thing that I would add to it. Alright, homies, as always, if you've got a smoke break topic, leave it in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. Alright guys, let's get into breaking down the rest of these matchups. Max Griffin taking on Kenan Song, or Song Kenan, whatever you prefer. Let's keep it real, guys. This one, pretty 50-50. You know, Max Griffin, real experience inside the UFC. Scrappy guy. You know, you look at his last fight. A lot of people overlooked him. Got in there, looked like a veteran. Just a guy that is pretty difficult to beat. But if you look at Kenan's song, this guy's got some knockout power. Pretty good boxing. I think if Max Griffin looks to grapple, looks to mix it up, maybe he's the pick here. But if this is trading in the pocket, Kenan's song could hurt Max Griffin. Really 50-50 matchup. I'm gonna side with Kenan's song. I think the way he put down Kalen Potter, just nasty. And I know a lot of people are thinking, you know, but that's Kalen Potter. Maybe that's true, you know, but I don't think Max Griffin would necessarily put away Kalen Potter like that. So yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit biased. I do like Kenan's song as a boxer. But yeah, that's going to be my pick here. I think the boxing may be the difference. My numbers, though, I'm keeping them close because it's a really good matchup. I'd put Kenan's song -120, Max Griffin +110. And the actual numbers, Max Griffin -200. Wow, okay. So I do disagree. I think it's much closer. I think if Song can keep this striking, keep it trading, much better chance. Max Griffin to warrant -200, gotta get that takedown. Adrian Yanez taking on Gustavo Lopez, really decent matchup. Let's start with Yanez. So Yanez comes into this matchup primarily a striker. Really slick hands. You know, this kid, quick hands. Really technical boxing. Basically the mini version of Jorge Masvidal. You know, that's basically what it seems. Gustavo Lopez, he does have some power, but not really technical. He's more of a wrestler. It's one or the other. You know, the small octagon, I spoke earlier about how toxic it is. It's going to be one or the other here. Either Adrian Yanez is able to use his boxing, avoid the takedown, or Gustavo Lopez most likely wrestles round in, round out. But I do have to mention, if you look at Gustavo Lopez, he kind of fatigues a little bit with that wrestling. So if he wrestles in round one, he might not be able to keep doing it in the second round. As you saw with Jin Yun Fry, you know, she wrestled in that first round, couldn't do it in the second. The cornering she got outside of round two really helped her get that takedown in the third round. So will Gustavo Lopez hold up with his wrestling? I'm gonna say no. So I'll take Yanez via TKO in round number 3. My numbers, I'd put Yanez, at least I'd put him -200 and Gustavo +170. Tai Tuivasa taking on Harry Hunsucker. Now originally Tai was supposed to fight Don'Tale Mayes, and I did like Tai in that matchup. You know, I was going to pick Tai. There's levels to this game, and I believe Tai Tuivasa was going to show Don'Tale Mayes that. But he's now fighting a guy who lost to Don'Tale Mayes. So fighting a guy below Don'Tale Mayes, it makes no sense to take Harry Hunsucker in this matchup. Is there a chance that he comes in here, makes a name for himself, you know, just takes out Tai Tuivasa Kevin Kroom style and just makes a name for himself? There's always that chance. But then again, you know, this guy's already got a name for himself. You know, Harry Hunsucker. Hey, that's a great name, right? I'm going to take Tai Tuivasa. So I'll take Tai via TKO in round number 1. I think there's like a 20% chance that Harry Hunsucker is able to win with a flash KO. Now we don't have any odds on this matchup yet. Let me just double check. Oh no, we do. Tai Tuivasa -350 and I put him -400. So basically the same thing. As I said, I'd give Harry Hunsucker like a 20% chance of a flash KO. Alright, co-main event guys, we've got Gregor Gillespie taking on Brad Riddell. Really good co-main event. So Gregor Gillespie, if you're not familiar, this guy's a really good wrestler. Also claims to be the best fisherman in MMA. Can't disagree, you know, haven't really seen his fisherman skills. As for his wrestling ability, you know, this guy will stick to you like glue. If he can get you to the mat, the top control, it's like glue. You know, he just sticks to you. He was sent to the Shadow Realm by Kevin Lee. If you haven't seen that knockout, man, you have to go watch it. Really bad. Shadow Realm. Brad Riddell is primarily a kickboxer, more boxing orientated. Takedown defense seems to be pretty okay. Doesn't seem to get stuck on his back. Alex de Silva was able to grapple with Brad Riddell. He was able to put him on the fence. So this is going to be one or the other again. Either Gregor Gillespie shows us, hey, I'm a really good wrestler, man. You have to put me into the Shadow Realm to beat me. Or Brad Riddell is going to show us, you cannot hold me down. No one will hold me down. And basically sends Gregor to the Shadow Realm. Guys, this one is toxic. Alright, it's toxic. All week I was on Gregor Gillespie. But I'm changing, man. I think Brad Riddell, he might shock us. You know, he might connect with the chin. And we don't know how good that chin is. You know, Kevin Lee maybe changed it. He may have changed it. So I'm going to take Brad Riddell via TKO in round number 2. My numbers, man, I'd keep them close. I'd keep Brad Riddell. If you put him at plus, you're not putting him a lot, maybe plus 130. Gregor Gillespie should, if he can get the takedowns, takedown after takedown, or not even let Brad get back to his feet, then yeah, you put him a favourite. But if Brad Riddell doesn't get stuck on the mat, guys, just be prepared. Alright homies, main event, we've got Derek Brunson taking on Kevin Home Alone Holland. Shout out to the homie Home Alone. Alright, let's start with Derek Brunson. So Derek Brunson at this point is a veteran, primarily a boxer. Does he have the ability to take you to the mat? Yes, he does. Is his takedown defense some of the best in the weight class? Yes, it is. Kinda gets kicked in the head a bit too much. And that could be a possibility, you know, because Kevin Holland is a really good kicker. If you haven't voted on the community poll for this main event, make sure you do. Someone left a comment saying, you know, it's not often we get 80% on a poll. Kevin Holland really is a UFC GA community favourite. So true, you know, so true. I'm siding with the homie on this one, guys. I'm taking Kevin Holland. However, if this fight goes into the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, I'm going with Derek Brunson. I think Kevin Holland maybe has 10 minutes to get this one done. Because if it goes outside of that, this is going to turn into experience and conditioning. And Derek Brunson, this late into his career, he's going to be way more suited to that type of fight. So for me, I think Kevin Holland maybe has to get this one done early. And I think he does. So I'll take Kevin Holland via TKO in round number 1. If it doesn't happen in the 1st round, it comes in the 2nd. If it doesn't come in the 2nd, boy, it's going to get interesting. I'd put Kevin minus 160, Derek Brunson plus 130. And the actual numbers, Kevin Holland minus 170, Derek Brunson plus 140, plus 150. Yeah, I agree with those odds. I mean, early, this fight should go for Kevin Holland. But Derek Brunson, if he uses a game plan, stick Kevin Holland up against the fence, Dustin Poirier style, you know? If he does that, it could be interesting. But if you come into close proximity with Kevin Holland, he is a very violent man. You know, he was left home alone, but he is a violent man, you know? Let's go Kevin Holland. Alright homies, if you've enjoyed these breakdowns, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. And as always, I want to see your comments, the underdogs you're taking, the parlays, all of that good stuff. Alright guys, peace.